So just this past Sunday, Bethesda announced the new Battle Royale mode for Fallout 76, that known as Nuclear Winter. And just yesterday, to kick off the game being available for free for 1 week, they actually did launch the mode. So right now, whether you're on PC, PS4, or Xbox One, you can download Fallout 76 for free and get the game mode for free. Although technically, all of the game's DLC is always free, so you'll always be able to get the game mode for free as long as you own the game. It's just this week the game is also free. And one pretty important disclaimer that I do want to make at the start of this video, the new Battle Royale mode is known as Nuclear Winter. The second wave of DLC also is known as Nuclear Winter, so it's a little confusing. There is more things coming. We're getting vault raids, we're getting other new PvE content, not just Battle Royale. In the larger Nuclear Winter DLC wave, it's just, for whatever reason, they decided to name the DLC wave and the game mode the same thing. Once you actually do queue up to play this new Battle Royale mode, you will be entered into Vault 51. This is basically just the waiting area. You'll find a bunch of other people, all with their fists out that you can punch. Alternatively, there actually are a variety of terminals or other activities for you to do. There's no mini games or anything like that. It's pretty passive stuff, just playing instruments or hitting other people endlessly, even though you don't do damage to each other. And then from there, once 52 players are selected and divvied up into teams of 4, this is one of those battle royales where you have to play as a team basically. You technically could play solo, or you could just invite one other person and then not search for a group, and then you'd be playing with 2 of you, but you will always be playing against other teams of 4. There's no solos mode or no duos mode, at least as of right now. But once the countdown has ended and your team is selected, you're actually going to get the option as to where you want to spawn. This is pretty interesting, as the way it works is you basically just pick a spot on the map and you'll eventually spawn in there with the rest of your team. Although right before this and after you selected your spot, you'll actually see who's going to be spawning around you to give you a decent idea of how many enemies will be around you. The spawning in is a little weird. You don't drop or anything like that as you've probably seen in other battle royales. You're just there on the ground. Sometimes you might be inside of a building, other times you might be kind of far away from buildings. And from there, what you're going to do is pretty typical with Battle Royale, and that is find loot. I'm sure most people have played Battle Royale, so I won't explain all of this in depth. Some of the unique things are, there's a variety of different crates you can loot, but the large crates, which are the best, actually beep. So when you're near them, you'll hear a beeping sound and you'll know, okay, I have to go in that direction.
Oh, hell no. What is that?
There's a down system in this, so after taking down an enemy, they will be downed. A teammate can revive them, although it's not instantaneous, it does take a couple seconds. And there's actually enemy NPCs. It's just a random enemy might pop up from time to time. When this happens, they're super easy to kill. One, they actually get a marker over their head at all times, but even further, things are balanced differently in Nuclear Winter, so all of them typically have pretty low HP and just in general don't do a lot of damage. Even some of the typically tough enemies like Scorch Beasts don't really give me a problem in this mode. Like many battle royales, this also does of course feature a closing ring of fire. It'll work in a very similar way to how it does in those other games. You do have a really nice HUD element to show you that, hey, look, ring of fire is coming, make sure you run away from it. But even further, when you actually see it blowing up and exploding all of the surrounding objects, whether it be cars or your camp, it does have a really cool effect. And one small detail I noticed is if you actually stand near the ring of fire, you could hear screams from the outer midst of it. Although loot is working differently here than it does in the rest of Fallout 76. Firstly, armor is actually not broken up into pieces anymore. So when you pick up armor, it's actually the whole set of armor. There's no piecing out, it's just looking for the best kind of armor. Even further, there's actually quite a few quality of life improvements with this mode. When you pick up any usable item, it actually will automatically be favorited. So all of the weapons will be immediately favorited as long as there's room, but also aid items, of which some are interesting. You are able to find mutation serums in this mode, which can be really freaking good. But also one really interesting thing is you can actually find buildable objects like guard post walls or turrets. This will be now an item in your favorites wheel that you can place down. Clicking on it from the favorites menu will make it so you immediately go to start placing it, which makes building just a lot easier. As far as armor and weapons go, they are balanced very different from adventure mode. Almost all of the weapons are viable in this. There are certainly ones that are better. Some of them actually feel really strong in this, but there's at no point that I really felt like I was using a weapon that was was too weak or just not good enough. It doesn't seem like you could mod the weapons yourself, but rather as you pick up a weapon, it'll just have a random assortment of mods. So sometimes you'll get a base gun that has no mods, other times it'll be kitted out with everything you want. There's several new HUD elements to go along with this. You can now see your armor in the bottom left as well as the condition of it. Just a really nice addition. Also newly added with this update, you actually now have damage indicators when shooting enemies. In Battle Royale, this is on by default, but then the mode also does have several features that are pretty uniquely Fallout. You can actually build a camp in this mode. Building costs nothing, so you could place down your camp, build a little base real quick, or even use one of the save schematics from adventure mode, and then move a little bit and actually place the same thing down shortly thereafter. There are no costs involved with this, and it's really nice and useful. If you find yourself at the center of a circle consistently, this can come in handy a lot, and I don't see nearly enough people taking advantage of it. Although some of the more rare or powerful things, again, are found as items. Pretty much all of the defense items are actually loot, so you have to find them before you can place them. There also are nukes in this mode. I actually haven't been able to find all of the pieces myself, but the way this works is you have to find 4 launch codes. Typically you'll find these in the large loot crates, and then 1 nuclear briefcase, and this will allow you to launch a nuke against enemies. Although when you actually launch a nuke, it doesn't go away. It will permanently affect that area of the map, which can be super powerful. You also can find power armor. You'll just stumble upon a full set sometimes as you're wandering around. This is really good. It definitely does break a bit faster, at least it felt a bit faster in this mode, but still is definitely one of the dominant ways to play. But also perks are a part of this mode. So basically as you play Nuclear Winter and actually gain experience, what you're doing is leveling up your Overseer level. This will give you access to a variety of new things, of which I'll talk about several, one of which is perk card packs, but these perk card packs are exclusive to Nuclear Winter. So before you start a match, you're able to assign 1 perk card to each of these special categories. Your special stat from adventure mode will carry over, but it's not nearly as valuable here. You can only ever have 1 perk card, but certain perk cards have higher levels. So in order to use this level 3 perk card, I need to have a special stat high enough to allow me to. Although I still will only ever be able to fit in 1 perk card in this category. With each perk card pack, you will get 1 random perk cards. There are 73 in total for this mode, 10 of which are actually totally new and different. Some of them actually increase jump height, help you with tracking down those nuke briefcases, and combine all of the weight reduction perks into one. And this is actually an interesting way to do this. Again, you customize this before the match starts, and I can definitely see character builds being relevant here. Some of these perk cards are only relevant to certain build types, and you're going to want to try and focus on finding those weapons. After you win or lose in this mode, you will get a breakdown of how long you survived, how much XP you got, as well as how many people you killed. I think an additional stat here of damage done would be really cool, but at the bottom it also shows you some of your upcoming rewards. And as you progress to some of the higher levels, you start to get some pretty good stuff, whether it be new power armor types, new statues that you could place in your camp in adventure mode and in this new mode. While walking around Vault 51, you could actually see several of the cosmetic items you could unlock through doing this, and much of it is actually pretty cool. If you've already purchased cosmetics, you could actually flag it to be usable in Nuclear Winter, and it'll appear on your character as you go in the mode. So one thing I found really bizarre about this new mode is the lore side of it. It's touted as actually providing a full backstory to Vault 51, which definitely is cool. Most of this stuff has been data mined, and I've actually shown it in past videos, but all throughout the vault you'll find certain areas that are gated off unless you have a certain Overseer rank, but this is extended also to holotapes and terminals. Now I find this particularly weird because the lore of this vault is, one, as of right now, only accessible in the lobby. So you only have a couple of minutes in this lobby, so you kind of have to rush to quickly listen to that holotape if you actually could, or to quickly read through that terminal. But even further, there is the natural. In order to actually gain access to the lore, you have to play the PvP mode. And you know, it's not like you have to play it a small amount. Some of these have very high level requirements. Me playing for 3 hours or so today, I did hit level 5, but you have to assume it's only going to get more and more difficult, meaning it'll take tens of hours to gain access to some of these areas. For PvP players, I guess this is pretty cool. It's a unique way of giving a reward. But for those non-PvP players that just want to find out the backstory, I don't know how I feel about this implementation. Even further, if you just go into adventure mode, Vault 51 is exactly the same. You still can't enter it. There still is no map marker for the location. Although one thing that actually does carry over from Nuclear Winter that is interesting is experience and caps. You'll see it at the end of each game on that breakdown screen. Some of the experience you gain from that will actually go to your adventure mode character, as well as some caps. And it's honestly not a half bad way to actually level up a character, considering you're at a way more even playing field in this new Battle Royale mode. Something interesting that stood stood out to me around this Battle Royale compared to others is the communication, or really lack thereof. In my 8 or 9 games I played of this, nobody talked. Alright, that's an exaggeration. Some people did talk some of the times, but the vast majority of the time, it was silent. I would sometimes do callouts to some of my teammates, but I feel like to go along with this mode, we could really use a kind of marker system. A way for people in game to point like, hey, there's an enemy over there, or hey, here's a cool item in case you want it. I'm not really sure why there was such a lack of communication, but the emote system felt clunky when trying to use it with this mode, and I think that is definitely an area for improvement. Outside of just the new mode, there were a variety of bug fixes and balance changes to the game itself. The vast majority of this were those combat improvements that we did hear about a couple of days ago. Those are cool. I love to see those in the game. The combat in the new PvP mode definitely feels a lot more fluid, and outside of that, there were some other relatively minor bug fixes, nothing super substantial. But taking all of that together, what do I actually think of this new mode? I personally found it pretty fun. I played quite a few matches of this, able to win some of them, having just a lot of success in others, and it is a genuinely cool implementation of Battle Royale. It's different enough from other modes that it does feel uniquely Fallout. I think Bethesda was really smart to announce this and immediately start letting people play it, because it does remove a lot of that suspicion or weariness. On launch, I didn't notice any massive problems. I didn't have massive frame rate or lag issues. There were no bugs that immediately stood out to me. Apparently there are some glitches and exploits to already arise, but again, it's kind of in a beta state right now, so we'll see how that changes. And if you have the game right now, whether it be for free through the free weekend or if you just owned it for a while, I would highly recommend giving this mode a try. I'm not a fan of other Battle Royales, they're just not my thing, but this one was fun to me. It might just be because I like Fallout, but I also feel like there is definitely some real potential with this mode. I had a lot of really memorable and fun moments. Although one thing I do really wonder about this mode is how they'll maintain it, or how to keep it fresh. The next few weeks, people will be consistently grinding this out, trying to gain some of those new cosmetics, gain access to some of those new areas, and just playing the mode because it's fun. But after that, I wonder if Bethesda will be able to add new things and update this mode enough to maintain people's interest, considering the fact that Battle Royale is just one small part of Fallout 76. I'm very curious to see what kind of attention this mode gets going forward, or if it doesn't get a ton of attention. So kind of as just one final note, as this video really is meant to be a mini review and my first impressions of the mode. It's a day later, I flew to E3, and I haven't been able to play Battle Royale for a few hours now, and I miss it. I miss playing Fallout 76's Battle Royale mode, which is something I literally cannot say about any other game's Battle Royale mode. If you're really on the fence about this one, trust me, give it a try. The game's free for this entire week, there's literally no excuse to unless you have slow internet speed or no hard drive space, but if you even remotely considered Fallout 76 or other Battle Royales, I would definitely try out this new one, especially again, while it's free. But either way, with all of that being said, there's a lot of cool stuff to do here, a lot of cool stuff to unlock. I've been looking at some of those cosmetics, they are truly awesome. But until next time, I thank you again for watching, and I do hope to see you all tomorrow. Later.